Good afternoon. I'd like to welcome everyone to our third University of Pennsylvania India Research Symposium. My name is Amy Gadsden. I'm the Associate Vice Provost for Global Initiatives in Penn Global and the Office of the Provost. And we are the unit that has been responsible for pulling together the panelists today to provide an overview and a snapshot of Penn's research work in India. As many of you in this room know, Penn has a long and distinguished history of engaging India, going back to the 19th century when in the late part of the 19th century, Penn became the first university in North America to teach Sanskrit. In the 1930s, under the supervision of W. Norman Brown, a great scholar of India, Penn acquired the largest collection of Indic manuscripts in the Western Hemisphere, which are still in Van Pelt. In 1947, Penn formed the first South Asian Studies program with support from the Ford Foundation, and in 1958 established a Title VI Resource Center on South Asia, which is still active today. In 1992, Penn proudly established the Center for the Advanced Study of India, which is the nation's first academic research center for the study of contemporary India. And in 1997, the University of Pennsylvania Institute for the Advanced Study of India was established in New Delhi. I'm very pleased that we have great representation from CASI and UPSC here today, including Tisha Sethi, who's with us from Delhi, and Juliana from the Center for the Advanced Study of India. And also, we have the CASI Distinguished Fellow with us, Dr. Subbarao, the former governor of the Federal Reserve Bank of India, who's joined Penn for 3 months as a visiting fellow. So wonderful, wonderful ties to India, manifestations of Penn's interest and engagement with India. But as much as we are proud of our past with India, it is really our present and our future that we are excited about and here to talk about today. And I am very excited to be able to introduce the provost of the University of Pennsylvania, Wendell Pritchett, who's going to talk to us a little bit about that present and that future. Wendell Pritchett is the 30th provost of the University of Pennsylvania. He is a presidential professor in the law school, which was my old home here at Penn, and also in the Graduate School of Education. He began his tenure as provost on July 1st, 2017, so just over 2 years ago. And I think probably within the first few weeks of his becoming provost, we said we have this great idea to do an India Research and Engagement Fund, and he immediately and enthusiastically supported that effort. Wendell is a scholar of urban history, real estate law, urban development. He has played many roles that are extensions of his research interests, including as Chancellor of Rutgers University in Camden, Deputy Chief of Staff and Director of Policy for Mayor Michael Nutter, Chair of the Redevelopment Authority, member of the School Reform Commission, and on and on. But what you can't find in his bio or even in his CV, which I went painstakingly through in preparing these remarks, are Wendell's connections to to global work and the things that have inspired him as a global leader. One of the first conversations I had with Wendell when he became provost was about his own study abroad experience as an undergraduate and how formative it was. And so he has been truly a great champion of global engagement here at Penn across the board, including in India, and also with regard to student education. It is my pleasure to introduce Wendell Pritchett to make some remarks to open up the symposium.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, Amy, for that generous introduction. So I do have two jobs. One is to welcome you and thank you all for the amazing work that you all do for our institution. And finally, just to celebrate this gorgeous October day. This is my favorite part of the year on campus, so I hope that you get a chance to walk up Locust Walk as I just did to get here. So that's my first thing. Welcome. Thank you. Have a great day. I will look forward to participating. Second one is to give you a report. So we're an academic institution. We're full of academics, scholars, and faculty here today, and I am a proud faculty member, so I'm going to give you my report. And my report, it will be brief, has to do with the India Research and Engagement Fund. So the fund is at the 2-year mark, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the projects that we're going to hear about and how they relate to our overall India strategy, and then mention a couple of things, reflections about India and what we should be working on from my perspective. So since we announced IREF in 2017, 15 projects have been funded with about $800,000 in support from the Provost's office. 7 schools were represented and 6 broad thematic clusters emerged. economics, education, technology, the environment, the health, and the social sciences. So early stage projects are conducting preliminary activities, often working with partners to prepare for study or survey launch, and hiring and training research assistants or fellows. As you all know, these projects sometimes take a little time to get organized. Projects at a more advanced stage have engaged in 3 core types of activities. So again, here's my report. Research efforts, 1. 2, research efforts including data collection and analysis, that's 1. 2, education and capacity building efforts, including organizing, implementing training courses for Indian-based communities. And finally, efforts to build partnerships, including discussions among key partners to sustain program development and explore new opportunities for growth. So we've been doing, what have we been doing? We have been doing what educational institutions do: collect data, analyze it, and work with people to implement the implications of the data. So to date, we have 35 partners, many based in India, and about 30 students are involved in varying capacities. 11 of the 13 active projects are going to be discussed today, so I am going to sit down fairly soon so we can actually hear that. The projects are a cross-section of the wide-ranging work across disciplines going on at Penn, and come from Cassie, Arts and Sciences, Wharton, the Perelman School of Medicine, and GSC. Topics that we're going to talk about today range from migration to indoor air pollution to female labor participation to efforts to train first responders, who in many cases may be auto rickshaw drivers in India. That list should give you just a good sense of the vast and challenging intellectual terrain that India offers Penn scholars and students who you all continue to do exceptional and unprecedented work. So that's my report. That's where things stand today. Just want to talk for a couple of minutes as a little framing of our conversation for today and the work beyond. It's not news to anybody in this room that India continues to face the great challenges of what some people call the 3 Ps: poverty, pollution, and public health. Several of our research projects tackle these and related issues. So looking ahead, based on the success of the program, I'm pleased to announce, you're hearing it first, that we will reopen the call for proposals for the India Research and Engagement Fund early in November, next week or the following week. Or you can clap if you want to. With the near-term goal of further stimulating and supporting engagement in India. In the longer term, our goal is to position Penn as a key generator of transformative and impactful ideas on major debates in India. And the website, Penn Global's website, has information on applying for IREF support. And finally, one broader point, as well as a plug for our program, for this program, since the fund began 2 years ago, as you know, geopolitical tensions between India and Pakistan have increased substantially, particularly since the Indian incursion in Kashmir over the summer. And we have a special guest today, the former UN ambassador to India, Richard Verma, who I'm sure is going to touch on that issue later today. So please be sure to join us for that if your schedule allows. So from an academic perspective, this development demonstrates, again, I think, the significant role that modern India is playing on the global stage. Solutions in countless fields are needed, and deep, meaningful research is the only way, the work that you're doing is the only way that we're going to find these solutions. So I want to express my appreciation to all of your efforts to help the Penn community and the global community better understand the fascinating and challenging place that India is. So thank you for all the work that you do. I'm now going to turn it back over to my colleague, Amy, and as I do that, I want to thank Amy. I hope you'll join me in thanking Amy Gaston for all of her leadership of all of our global efforts, but particularly this work. And with that, have a great day.
Breaking news, you heard it here first. The India Research and Engagement Fund will be relaunched with a new call for proposals in November. We're very excited about that and are happy to answer questions, of course, throughout the day. If you have specific questions, you want to approach me or my colleague, Ali Klauser, about that, or you can email us. But stay tuned and look forward to getting information about that. Wendell talked about giving sort of an academic report. This, as much as that we focus the IREF on academic research and engagement, this is not an academic conference, and it's my pleasure to invite up the first panel for our first Research Blitz. So I would invite the moderator, Harbir, and the presenters to come on up. And as they do so, I wanted to give just a little bit of framing for our discussions today. This symposium invites researchers from across the university to present their research in what we call a blitz format. We limit people to 3 slides. And we're very militant about that. And we ask them to speak for 5 to 7 minutes about their research. The idea here is to give a sense of the breadth. It's hard to get into the depth, of course, but to give a sense of the breadth of activity and engagement that we have underway here at Penn. We've had a lot of success with these symposia going back 3 or 4 years now. We do one on China in the winter. We do this symposium on India in the fall. And then we are adding a 3rd symposium this year on Latin America and the Caribbean in the spring. And what we have heard from people consistently is, oftentimes they know what their colleagues in their fields around the world are doing, but they don't know what the person in the office next door to them might be doing. And so this conference, this symposium is about sort of introducing you to your colleagues here at Penn and their work on India. It is our greatest pleasure when these discussions lead to further research and further collaboration across universities. So I encourage you to, to talk about potential collaboration or ways to learn from each other. With that, I will turn it over to Harbir Singh, professor of the Wharton School, who will moderate and introduce the first panel. Thank you.